Hey YouTube, this is Guy, and today I'm going to do a little tutorial on how to resize or technically stretch a ring. This is basically going to be useful for your wedding band style rings. So, a ring basically something like this, just a simple wedding band. That's a man's wedding band, a woman's, but basically not a ring with any sort of stones set in them, where stretching a ring with stones set in them could possibly dislodge the stones because you're going to be putting quite a bit of force on your ring to stretch it out. So yeah, I thought I'd do a little tutorial on how to stretch a ring, because if you're like me, over the years you've probably put on a few pounds, and rings tend to get tighter when you put on weight. I don't know why that is. It's like the ring shrinks or something. No, obviously our fingers grow as we gain weight. Or maybe you just bought the wrong size. Maybe you picked up a ring you really like, and you got it and it was maybe a half size too small. Then you probably should have bought, and you want to stretch it out a little bit. So to do that, it's relatively simple actually, and you just need a few tools, which I have laid out here. The first tool that you're going to need, you can pick this up at your local hardware store, is some sort of hammer. I'm using an 8-ounce ball peen hammer. I don't know exactly what this cost me. I've had it for years, but you need some sort of hammer. It's also a good idea to have a ring mandrel, and that's this device here. A ring mandrel will tell you the size of your ring. So in this case, we'll go over to the ring size end. And what you do is you slide your ring on, and you can see here there's on the left hand red numbers. I'm sliding down and I'm almost basically to that number 9 line there on my ring. So that'll tell you what size your ring is. And as you're stretching your ring, this would be useful in showing you, how much has the ring been stretched out already. You don't need it. You can just slide the ring on your finger and get an idea just based on the fit of how it feels, but a ring mandrel is inexpensive. I recommend you pick that up. This particular mandrel, which I'll put a link down in the notes section of the video, also came with this little ring sizer toolkit, and it's just a bunch of rings, and each one is labeled. So let's see if we can zoom in and see that. Might not be able to. So that's, size, what is that? Probably 9. It's either 9 or a 6. I'd have to look at the ones adjacent. Yeah, so it's next to 10. So, that's the size 9. So you'd slide that on your finger and see, like, okay, yeah, that fits okay. I'm probably a size 9. You try the 9.5 or the 8.5 just to see if, you're actually a half size in either direction. Different. This came with my mandrel. It's not something that I would buy on its own. It's certainly not necessary, but since it came with the mandrel, and the mandrel was relatively inexpensive anyway, you'll probably get one of these with your ring mandrel. And finally, you need the stretching tool. Now this is the stretching tool, and it comes with 2 pieces. It comes with the tool and this little base, and the way this eventually all works out as it sits in that base like so, and that's what you would hammer on. So the way this works is you have 2 pieces. You have, I don't know the official names of these pieces, called this one on the right the Christmas tree, and this one on the left the funnel, because it's kind of funnel shaped. And what you do is you slide your ring onto the Christmas tree, and then you put the funnel gizmo down into the hole until it's just like snug. And then you set it on the little nylon base. And from there, all you do is you take your ball peen hammer and you just hammer on the top. Now, there's a couple of tricks that you should know. When you're hammering on this stretcher gizmo, make sure you're on a very firm, hard surface. I started doing this and I was on a wood table. And because the wood table had a little bit of give, I was hitting the top of this, and it just, because the table was giving, I wasn't getting good solid strikes. So I ended up putting it down on my garage floor, which is a solid concrete floor, and whacking it on there. So if you have like a very strong, sturdy metal table, that would probably work. An anvil, obviously, would be an excellent way to hammer on this thing. But if all those fails, just, a concrete floor will work. I wouldn't do it on like a tile floor or any sort of fragile, like a wood floor, any sort of material that might get dinged up, because you're going to hit this gizmo that's holding your ring very hard. All right, so strike the top with your hammer 3, 4, maybe 5 times really, really hard. And then you're going to want to just pull it apart. But because you've hit it so hard, it's going to have pushed down, into the Christmas tree, and the Christmas tree is spreading open, which is spreading your ring. And at the bottom, it's poking through. So what you're going to do to get it apart is you're just going to hammer it apart to get it apart. Once you hammer that apart, you slide your ring off. And then this is why you want your mandrel. So with this ring, initially, it started out as a size 8.5. So right about there. That's what this ring was when I started. And this is a sterling silver ring. So I hammered on it 3, 4, 5 strokes, and it stretched out to about there. And I tried it on, and well, that wasn't enough. And then I hammered it some more, and it stretched out to about there. And well, that wasn't enough. And so on and so forth. And it took me 4 or 5 tries, and it eventually stretched out to a size 9. So I went from about an 8.5 up to a size 9. Just using this little tool. The tool is supposedly advertised to be able to go from about a half size to a size and a half. Depending on your ring, that could be dangerous. If you go a size and a half, maybe your ring splits or breaks. So realistically, I wouldn't go more than 1 full size of stretching. That's just my opinion. I'm no expert. I didn't make this thing. But in my opinion, probably if you need to go more than 1 full size, you might think about just buying a new ring. Particularly in this case, like a sterling silver ring is very cheap. So once you've got your ring stretched out to the size you're comfortable with, the size that fits, basically, then what I did, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but what I did is on the inside of the ring, see if I can focus a little bit, probably too much stuff in the background. Yeah, there we go. So on the inside of the ring, it got very scratched up from the stretcher gizmo. And you can see there's still some decent little micro scratches in there. But what I did was, I own a Dremel tool, so I got a little felt buffing wheel and some polishing compound. I just used polishing compound made for like wheels for cars, aluminum, like high polished wheels. And I put a little of that polishing compound on the outside and the inside of my ring, and then just took the buffer wheel of my Dremel to it and got it up to a mirrored finish, basically in no time. I don't know if it took 5 minutes. Wiped all that excess compound off and used a nice microfiber little cloth and buffed it up. And it looks excellent. So now my ring fits. It's a little snug to get off, but it's not cutting off circulation in my finger at all. So, it's a perfect fit now. So yeah, basically, that's it. It's very simple to resize, or, well, not make smaller, but make larger to stretch your rings with these little tools. This tool here, the stretcher tool itself, was, let me look on my Amazon profile page. $16.50 roughly. And the Mandrel tool was $12.50. So, what is that? $29. For $29, you'll definitely have everything you need, and you can get away without the Mandrel. Like I had mentioned, you can just put the ring on your finger after you stretch it every little bit to see if the fit is good. But I like knowing exact measurements, so the Mandrel was useful in my case. Now, there's a couple of things you need to be aware of with this stretcher tool. It is incredibly cheap material, I'm not going to lie. And the reason I say that is twofold. Number one, when you're hammering on this end, when your ring is on here and you're hammering this end down to stretch the ring, the finish, I don't know what it is, it's like a chrome kind of finish, it just flakes off and falls off all over the place. See if I can zoom in and maybe you'll get a better look at that. You see, it's all just flaked off there. So yeah, that's poor. On the other side, once you've hammered it all together, you have to hammer on this side to get it out. This side got so deformed and mushroomed after 3 or 4 different applications or uses that it almost wouldn't fit through this hole anymore. So I literally, I don't know if you can see on the edge there, I literally had to kind of hammer it back into shape. You see all along that leading edge, like it's all deformed. That was me hammering it back into shape, so it wasn't all mushroomed over, so it would fit through this hole. So you're probably only going to get maybe 5 to 10 uses total out of this tool before it is just so destroyed that, it's going to not be worth it anymore. I don't think that's terrible. I mean, how many rings are you going to resize? If you're not a professional jeweler, you're going to resize 1 or 2, maybe 3 rings over the entirety of your life. So this tool will be good enough, especially at the price point of a little over $16, I think. And it works, So yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world that it's really soft material. And also the finish flakes off all over the place on this end too as I was hammering it to, get it out, right? You hammer on that to loosen it up so you can take the tool apart. So all the finish is getting knocked off on that end as well as getting like mushroomed over. Because the finish flakes off like that, I would wear eye protection. I wouldn't want to get a little sliver of this chrome finish, metal or whatever it is in my eye. So do wear eye protection just in case. That's just my tip. And otherwise, yeah, it's super simple to use, and it works for its intended purpose of stretching out a wedding band style ring, man's or woman's, as long as again there's no jewels or stones or anything set into the ring. So yeah, that's basically it. This is just a very basic little tutorial on what tools you need and more or less how to use them to stretch out a wedding ring or a simple band style ring. Again, I'll have links to these tools. I bought them all on Amazon. I'll have links down below in the notes for this video so you can find them if you need to get the tools. And otherwise, if you like this video, please click the like button and share it. If you're not already a subscriber of my YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. I do product reviews and tutorials on all sorts of things. Lately, it's mostly been watches, but I'll be branching out into a bunch of other things, including EDC items like knives, multi-tools, flashlights, and eventually even firearms, concealed carry firearms, and just fun gun range guns. So yeah, the channel is growing, and I appreciate everyone that subscribes and supports the channel. So thanks very much. This is Guy signing off.